LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, three of the greatest players of our generation, and even in their later years in their careers, still being superstar caliber players, just being wasted away by poorly ran organizations in the Los Angeles Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, and the Phoenix Suns. With no clear direction these teams want to go in, and just settling for mediocrity, but each of these situations is worse than the other, starting with the Golden State Warriors. Stephen Curry, the 36-year-old point guard, still putting up 23 points per game, shooting 41% from 3, is currently sitting at the 11th seed, only one game out of the play-in. At the time of me recording this video, it's the day after they blew an 18-point lead to the Sacramento Kings, where it was obvious once Steph Curry gets the ball, the Kings just repeatedly doubled him and let Andrew Wiggins or Buddy Hield beat them. And with Draymond and Kuminga being in and out of the lineup because of injury, why aren't the Warriors getting a second star next to Stephen Curry? Why are they still stuck in the 2022 formula as if it would work again? What the only difference is now, there is no Jordan Poole, there is no Klay Thompson. Wiggins that year was an all-star, and throughout this year he has been better than last year, but it's still not good enough. And what the only bright spot this year was that 15-game stretch to start the year where they were 12-3 and Buddy Hield averaged 25 points per game, and now with Buddy Hield struggling to even crack 10 points, since that 12-3 start, they are currently 9-19, and that tells me everything that I need to know. The Golden State Warriors need a secondary scorer next to Stephen Curry, and that opens up the game so much for him instead of him getting trapped every time he touches the ball. So he has to force up a quick shot, damn near at the fucking hash mark every possession, or throw up some ridiculous floater and praise it goes in. The team looks lost whenever Curry isn't scoring. And all this to say, Mike Dunleavy does not know what he's doing up there. He doesn't want to trade away any young assets to help Curry. Instead, he wants to try to bridge two different generations and try to have two different timelines instead of just sticking to one timeline. And that timeline being the Steph Curry timeline. The guy who rose this organization from the grave, who gave them their first championship since the 70s, who made this a multi-billion-dollar franchise, and wasted his last prime years on a fucking borderline play-in team? Instead of this offseason trying to help Curry, they just decided on, you know what, let's go ahead and let Klay walk. You know what, the previous offseason, Jordan Poole, I'm gonna trade you for a 40-year-old Chris Paul, and I'm gonna let you walk the following year. B-Pods, you're gonna be the next coming of fucking Michael Jeffrey Jordan. I refuse to trade you away, even though we have an all-star caliber player on the table to trade for. Let me not put you in packages, because I believe you could be great. Just for you to right away on the bench and barely get any playing time, how ass you are. They should have traded for Larry Marketing in the offseason, but because they refused to trade away Buddy Hield, it all went to shit. I do respect the efforts now with them trying to get a secondary ball handler and Dennis Schroeder to help Curry, but Schroeder does not fit the Warrior system, and it's clear. Do you know which guard did fit the Warrior system? Say it with me, guys. Jordan fucking Poole. Jordan Poole fit the Warriors so perfectly. Coming off that bench being the spark plug scorer, he fit perfectly. But all because the motherfucking Draymond wants to punch him in the face and have to force Dunleavy's hand to trade him. This Warriors team is a disaster to watch in real time. It's just sad. And Curry, Draymond, and Steve Kerr not making this any better. Publicly saying, oh, I don't want to trade away young assets. Why trade away young assets to someone now? Why would we do that? What do you mean, why would you do that? Why? Yes, you have to sacrifice your future. I'm sorry. There's no way with all the picks. You guys have almost every single one of your picks. Just to sit there and stare at them like, yeah, I'm fine with having the 14th, 15th pick every year. Eventually, one of them's going to hit. By then, Curry'd be like 42. He'd be out the league by the time all those picks hit. I thought in 2020, the Warriors were going to trade away the number 2 overall pick. I also believe that they're going to trade away the Kuminga pick. I believe that they're going to trade away Moses Moody pick, the Brandon Potensi pick, every single near lottery pick or lottery pick they had for the last 4 or 5 years. I thought that they were going to trade them, and not a single one of those players even amounted to anything. Absolutely anything worth crying home about, like, yeah, I hit on this pick. The only one that did hit was your 30th overall pick in 2019, in which you sent to fucking Washington to rot away for a 40-year-old Chris Paul. This team has no direction, and I don't know what can save them. Because their available options right now is who? Zach LaVine? Jimmy Butler, maybe a Brandon Ingram, maybe a Chris Middleton, maybe a Bradley Beal. I don't know where the Warriors could go. Right now, the Warriors have two options. Either A, you tell Curry, listen, I want to fully tank. What team do you want to go to? Draymond, I'll send you with Curry. Or the second option is you trade away Kuminga, you trade away B-Pods, you trade away Moses Moody, you trade away Trey Jackson-Davis. I don't give a fuck how old these players are. Any young player on this team gotta go. You have to go get that secondary star just to say you fucking tried. Stop wasting Curry's years. Since 2022, every year has gotten worse. Curry's last playoff appearance has been 2023, the loss in the second round to the Los Angeles Lakers. Last year, 10th seed, lost in the play-in game. This year, probably won't even make the play-in. It's just getting worse and worse with no clear direction. Now for the slightly better situation in the Phoenix Suns, who are now the 10th seed in the West. So ever since the Suns started off 9-2, they are currently 13-19. In that stretch, they have fell from the 2nd seed out West to now the 10th seed out West, with the situation out there in Phoenix also being very confusing, with Bradley Beal and Yusuf Nurkic being prime pieces to this team, being the starting shooting guard and the starting center in this team, to now being relegated to off the bench or just DMPs. Yusuf Nurkic refuses to play anymore, and no one around the league even wants him. The Phoenix Suns, before making a trade for Nick Richards last week, had a center rotation of Nurkic, Mason Plumlee, and Oso Iguodala, which is probably the worst center rotation in the league, getting out-rebounded by 20 offensive rebounds the Atlanta Hawks game before they acquired Nick Richards. But then Matt Ishbia made the calls, picked up Nick Richards, and solved one problem, but doesn't solve the rest. And the rest being Bradley Beal clearly wants out, and it's obvious to reports coming out saying that he's willing to waive his no-trade clause. And mind you, Beal has literally said that all the power is in his hands, which is true. All the power relies on Bradley Beal because he has a no-trade clause. So he could choose where the fuck he wants to go. But what does a Bradley Beal package look like? They would have to match his money exactly, because remember, the Suns are a second apron team, so they are stuck. They are stuck with that Beal contract until he decides where he wants to go. And that team has to have the money to match Bradley Beal. But who would want Bradley Beal's contract? He's making damn near $50 million, so what is the point? But then you have Jimmy Butler. He said openly, basically, he wants to get traded and wants out of Miami. And Butler also wants to come to Phoenix. It can't be a clean swap because money doesn't match exactly. The Suns are a second apron team. The best case scenario for this Phoenix team is acquiring Jimmy Butler. But outside of the Nick Richards trade, the Phoenix Suns traded one first-round pick for 3 in return, who are not as valuable as that one first-round pick, to look a little more enticing. So now they could offer 3 instead of 1, even though it's 3 smaller picks, which most likely is going to equate to a Jimmy Butler trade. But outside of the off-the-court issues, the Suns also have the on-the-court issues. Being outside of Book and KD, no one else is scoring unless Beal feels like it, which is really rare nowadays, especially with him coming off the bench. Another on-the-court issue being their big man. Yes, Nick Richards is serviceable, but the Suns ran a lot of their offensive schemes through Nurkic, surprisingly, because his passing is above average for his position. So with Nick Richards being there instead of Yusuf Nurkic, it really forces the Suns to switch up their entire offense, which I feel like is going to be a good thing once implemented properly. But then again, with the Suns being a second apron team, it is really hard to make any marginal adjustments and trades throughout this year. So honestly, I think the Suns are also stuck in purgatory, just like the Warriors. The difference between the Suns and the Warriors is that the Suns don't owe Kevin Durant loyalty. So once his contract's up and he feels like the Suns haven't honored it, he will gladly leave, like he's done in Brooklyn, like he's done in Golden State, like he did in Oklahoma. And now it's time for the Los Angeles Lakers, who are currently sitting at the 5 seed out west. And you may be thinking, how they wasted LeBron James if they are the 5 seed? If you generally watch the Lakers play, there's a clear gap between the contending teams and the Los Angeles Lakers, where on a night-to-night basis, we don't know which Laker team we're going to get. The highly engaged Anthony Davis, MVP caliber Anthony Davis, or Anthony Davis who's giving us 16 points and 13 rebounds. Are we getting the hyper-athletic LeBron James, who's being active on the defensive end, hitting his shots, playmaking? Or getting LeBron, who's smoking layups and not really getting any effort on the defensive end? So it really boils down to our 2 stars, who have really been inconsistent, and LeBron's old age really starting to show time to time. But also, Rui Hachimura has been a complete negative on the court. When I mean a complete negative, I mean it's bad. Because there will be stretches we watch the Lakers play, they'll be down by 15 points, and majority of that would be because of Hachimura, whether it's missed assignments, missed switching, losing his man off the ball, letting backdoor cuts happen, not boxing out, not grabbing rebounds, allowing second chance points, missing open shots in the corner, missing open layups. Hachimura goes through stretches when he is a negative player on the court. My main example for this being the Cleveland Cavalier game. Dorian Finney-Smith's first game on the Lakers were down 15 points to start the game. And once Hachimura sat and DFS came in, there was a clear switch in energy. The Lakers quickly brought the lead back down to 6-7 points, and with Jared Vanderbilt coming back on Saturday and slightly ramping him back up, I do not see Rui Hachimura being on this Los Angeles Lakers team come past February 6th. The Lakers' main problem, I would say, center play. Outside of Anthony Davis, the Lakers have 4 other centers on the roster, being Jackson Hayes being the second best center on the roster. Then it's Christian Wood, who, mind you, we still don't have a timeline on when he's coming back. He's been injured for damn near a year now, and there still isn't an update on his injury. Third being Christian Koloko. And the last but not least, the two-way guy who just picked up a couple days ago in Trey Jameson. The Los Angeles Lakers are a terrible offensive rebounding team and a terrible defensive rebounding team. Clear case of that being the Houston Rockets game, where I saw Amen Thompson single-handedly out-rebound the Lakers time and time again, even missing his own free throw and getting the ball, laying it back up. The Lakers have a clear effort problem and a clear rebounding problem. And I completely agree with LeBron and AD coming out and saying that they don't want a big-time trade. And I agree with that. The Lakers don't need a big-time trade. The Lakers need some rough around the edges work. Better guard play. One guard play problem is that even with Gabe Vincent really finding his confidence again, and Max Christie really stepping into a 3-and-D role in the starting lineup, Dalton Connect has been a negative. He has not been able to find his shot over the last month outside that 2-week stretch. It's been bad for Dalton. I think he's like 1 of 20, 1 of 21 from the 3 last couple games. It's been bad. With Dalton not finding his shot, he is now a complete liability on the court. Not hitting 3-pointers, not playing defense, not attacking the rim. The guard play isn't the main issue. The main issue with the Lakers is that it's an energy issue. They're missing an energy guy off the bench. Whether that is a Colin Sexton, whether it is a Walker Kessler, they need someone that could bring the energy, grabbing rebounds and playing defense, especially the Lakers do lack, especially off the bench. This isn't a championship contending team. This is a playoff team, yes, but it's not championship contending. They match up against Denver in the first round, they will lose. And outside of Denver and OKC, the Lakers do have a chance of beating anyone out west. And I believe the Lakers are one piece away of beating Denver and getting another center. So if I'm the Los Angeles Lakers, I am looking into that and trying to pick up a backup center just to have alongside Anthony Davis. And that is the only way they can salvage this year. And without that, the Lakers will be going to shit and losing in the first or second round yet again, and wasting another year of LeBron and AD being superstar caliber players just for them to ride away on a borderline playoff team. And honestly, if the Suns, Warriors, and the Lakers struggle to make any moves throughout this year or even in the offseason, I am in full agreement of all 3 of them teaming up in Curry, KD, and LeBron. And let me know what you think of the video down in the comments down below. And as always, go hard on them dudes. Salute.